You're watching the Newshour special with Arnab Goswami.
Now, it's not just limited to the GST, which of course the government is pegging its hopes on that it's still going to be passed in this winter session of Parliament. Nobody can really be sure about that. It's about what, as Panda, who's joining me in the studio today, is a member of Parliament of the Lok Sabha of the BJD, described as, provocatively, the tyranny of the Rajya Sabha. And this is something, of course, the Congress will have strong views on. Madhu Yaskhi represents the Congress point of view. Sidharth Nath Singh of the BJP, the party which is facing the tyranny of the Rajya Sabha. D. Raja of the Communist Party of India. This would therefore qualify you to be one of the tyrants of the Rajya Sabha on behalf of your party, Mr. Raja, and Sudhindra Bhadoria of the BSP. Let's debate. Panda, what is the tyranny of the Rajya Sabha that you're talking about?
Arnab, first of all, I'd like to clarify something. I didn't use the word tyranny. Somebody has misquoted me. But I definitely have talked about this logjam between the upper house and the lower house. And I want to make clear something else. I have been writing about parliamentary reforms, including Rajya Sabha reform, for many years now. So it's not about the predicament of this government. As everybody knows, when the UPA government was in power, it also had exactly the same problem. The issue is this. All around the world, many democracies have faced this. In fact, all democracies have faced this problem. And they have been reforming their constitution, making amendments. What I have proposed here is that we should also have a discussion on this, because we cannot have a system which is perennially in logjam. We must find a way to break the deadlock between
discussion on what? On reducing the powers of the Rajya Sabha?
Not necessarily. There are two options. So if you look at what UK has done, they have reduced the power of the House of Lords back in 1911. Before 1911, it was like our Rajya Sabha. It could block everything except money bills.
Yeah.
Now it can only slow down for a year. Italy has just done exactly the same thing just last month.
Yeah.
But the US did something else. In 1913, it changed its constitution so that the Senate, the upper house, continues to have the veto. So no reduction of powers.
Understood.
But it becomes directly elected, no longer indirectly elected like our
But
Rajya Sabha.
what is the peg for this? If you were to put it in one word, what is the peg for it? What makes this issue much more relevant today?
I'll explain the following. What is relevant is this, that the idea of two houses is that there must be check and balance, so that the popular will of the day doesn't get carried away into a hysterical mob mentality. But the other house, which is not having a popular mandate of the day, should be able to slow down and check and urge caution, but not completely stop.
You back this, Sidharth?
Well, I think what Panda is saying is certainly I would support him, because it's a very legitimate for any individual or particular member of Parliament who's facing it and then sees that things are not moving the way they wish to. And
it's very convenient, isn't it? You don't have the numbers in the Rajya Sabha, so you want to reduce its powers. Tomorrow you'll have the numbers in the Rajya Sabha, you want to expand it.
Well, I think this debate has been on for a very long time.
But why are you picking it up now? Why? Honestly, tell me. I mean, your problem is the fact that you're not being able to get your work done in the Rajya Sabha.
We certainly have a problem because the reforms which we need to push are getting blocked in the Rajya Sabha. But this is not something new which has been spoken. Certain members of our parliament, which I was sharing with Jay before coming in, that certain member of our parliament had spoken earlier also in public when things were not moving during UPA 1 or UPA 2. So there has been a concern, but this concern is growing because bills after bills, session after sessions are definitely getting blocked. The upper house do need to discuss. The issues which are being picked up to block it is certainly basically because the arithmetic that gives in the parliament, the upper house.
Yes.
And therefore this debate is on.
Should we open the debate here in the studio as well?
Sure.
Mr. Madhu Yaskhi, you see, remember one thing. First of all, don't be touchy. This is not a call for the abolition of the Rajya Sabha. We are not saying, abolish the Rajya Sabha. The fact is, what are you doing? You are only seeking revenge for your loss in the 2014 elections. The only party responsible for the fact that you came down to 44 in the 2014 elections is the Congress party. You can't take revenge on the people of India. You can't take revenge on the Indian economy. You can't take revenge on all the other political rivals. You lost the elections. You were down to 44 in a house of 543, 545. That's your problem. Why are you taking revenge on India for your loss in 2014? Basically, you leave this side with no other option but to say, if this is the way they're going to go, if the only approach is going to be, we are going to be an impediment, an obstruction in any legislative functioning, then let's reduce the powers of the Rajya Sabha. Mr. Madhu Yaskhi.
It sounds like these just the introductory remarks which you made it, coming from BJP or Mr. Modi or
it's it's a very logical point of
why?
Congress
Has a history, track record,
one minute.
Track record
Mr. Madhu Gaud,
running the government,
Mr. Madhu Gaud, actually, the upper house, do you agree that the upper house, where you have the numbers, has stopped Parliament from performing its primary duty, which is to legislate? Is it true or not? You basically stopped any legislation whatsoever.
Arnab, let me quickly tell you first. Do you think that opposition role is a cheerleader's role? Whatever BJP or the government is doing it just to support and clap it? Don't we have a responsibility to take it to the people's voice to the Parliament? Isn't it a responsibility of the opposition? This is the mindset of the BJP. Whoever is questioning them, brand them as anti-national. Mr. Modi questions him in the Supreme Court when they're objecting any government policies, which is anti-people. It's a land reform.
Mr. Madhu Gaud, actually, we are debating the tyranny of the Rajya Sabha.
What is the role of the Rajya Sabha here? It provides a perfect foil for sanity in building up public policy.
No, what's the sanity out here going on? What is the sanity? Bills like GST not passed, that is sanity. Bills like real estate development bill not being passed, that's sanity. The child labour bill not being passed, that's sanity. Legislation that impacts millions of people in this country. Mr. Madhu Gaud, actually,
remind you that parliamentary ministers complimenting the Congress role for passing 149 bills in the previous budget session. Why we opposing the land reforms bill? Why we opposing the GST bill? If we are not correct, why the committee appointed by Mr. Modi government?
Sidharth Nath Singh. Sidharth is countering. Sidharth is countering. Sidharth.
So it is
parliamentary affairs minister complimented.
One quick point. Don't brand opposition because of your failures, just because we are having some objection at the bill which we bringing that we are anti-national, we are anti-democratic.
Anti-national, it is called anti-growth, which is traditionally we have seen that the Congress has not helped in growing India. But nevertheless, that's not the debate we are at. I'll just give you a very simple example. And think from there why we say you are obstructionist. NJAC, Supreme Court, rightly, wrongly, they are in the domain, they have struck down. No questions being asked on it. NJAC was unanimously passed by both the houses of Parliament, not a single member objected to it. Now, after that, it's been struck down. The approach of the Congress is we will not re-legislate the bill. We will not support the centre.
No.
Isn't it? No, sir.
No.
It is. And now look at it. The authority of the Parliament, the supremacy of the Parliament to legislate is being questioned now. And therefore, as all parliamentarians do need to stand, because Parliament is also part of the democracy.
You want what do you want? What do you want?
In Parliament democracy, the opposition is also part of the democracy.
No, so therefore, what changes you? What changes you except your obstructionist approach not to go ahead with the BJP?
Remind you what is Congress
in what you had agreed on.
Congress supported NJAC bill.
But now you're not ready to support it now.
No, you didn't even brought it.
No, sir, we did. It's not a question we did. We did, and there is a comment of your senior leaders, including your leader of opposition, leader of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, have said no, we will not support.
No, but Madhu Gaud, actually, let me go to D. Raja and Sudhindra Bhadoria.
Can I come in
Mr. D. Raja, are you happy with this situation? No, Mr. D. Raja first. Mr. D. Raja, you happy with this situation? That the Rajya Sabha today has become the biggest impediment, that the Rajya Sabha today, the Rajya Sabha of which you are a member, has become a biggest impediment in the country's growth? Are you happy with the situation? Won't people ask you, Mr. Raja, when you go out, you are a member of the Rajya Sabha, and why is the Rajya Sabha become the biggest impediment in the growth of this country?
Who says Rajya Sabha is the impediment for the growth?
Well, that is the popular perception. The Rajya Sabha has become the greatest impediment for all legislation in this country.
Listen to me. Are you telling, or the government is saying, the Rajya Sabha has become impediment? I know Mr. Jai Panda. He is one of the learned, articulate members. He has been raising several issues in public domain. I have respect for him. But when it comes to Rajya Sabha, the time has come. We will have to define and redefine the powers of Rajya Sabha. And Rajya Sabha is a permanent house of our parliament. Lok Sabha is not. And there is a check and balance. as Ms. Jai Panda has said.
No, you're saying the Lok Sabha is not...
Both houses are part of the parliament.
Both houses are equally part of the parliament. I mean, has this become, unfortunately, Mr. Raja listening to you? No, Mr. Raja listening to you. No, I seem to believe it appears to me there is a tussle of power now between the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha.
You are not aware of many things. Rajya Sabha
Mr. Raja.
has number of bills. But
Mr. Raja, was it because of the ruckus in the Lok Sabha or the chaos in the Rajya Sabha that the monsoon session was washed out? Please tell me, was it because of the ruckus in the Lok Sabha or the chaos in the Rajya Sabha that the monsoon session was washed out?
You asked Mr. Arun Jaitley when he was leader of the...
No, I'm asking you.
Mr. Arun Jaitley took a stand. He said disruption is legitimate function of the parliament.
But it cannot be a continuous process.
He was leader of the opposition.
Where is the continuous process?
No, what's that? Sidharth is countering.
It can be a continuous process. It can be a rare of rare cases. But now,
we want parliament to function. We want bills will have to be discussed and scrutinized in detail.
But where is the scrutiny happening? Where is the discussion happening in the Rajya Sabha? It is only raising and going to the well and saying the minister must resign. That is the latest issue that you have all caught on.
Just like that.
Rajya Sabha is a deliberative body which balance between the law and house.
Just one. Mr. Raja, Mr. Raja, 1 minute. Mr. Raja, 1 minute. Mr. Raja, listen here. Mr. Raja, you are talking about deliberation. Please don't mind. What deliberation? Complete rowdyism that we are seeing in the Rajya Sabha. There was a ruckus in the Rajya Sabha, the monsoon session, you had a productivity of 9%. It is 9% productivity in the monsoon session of parliament. Mr. Raja, 1 minute. Mr. Raja, let me correct you further.
I'm not.
Mr. Raja, the Rajya Sabha did less than 1 day's work in the monsoon session of parliament.
You are not doing that.
The Rajya Sabha did less than 1 day's work in the monsoon session of parliament.
You are saying
I'm sorry, this is...
Yes, Mr. Bhadoria.
Listen to me. Listen to me. You
No,
ask anybody about the conduct of my conduct in Rajya Sabha.
So, Mr. Raja, it is not about your conduct.
Don't use.
The issue is not about your conduct. The issue is. Mr. Raja, 1 minute. Mr. Raja. Mr. Raja. Mr. Raja. See, people. Mr. Raja, this Rajya Sabha does not fund itself. Mr. Raja, 1 minute, please. The Rajya Sabha does not fund itself. It is funded by the taxpayer. The point that I am making to you, and don't take it personally.
That everybody knows.
Mr. Raja, 1 minute. 1 minute, Mr. Raja. It is Mr. Raja. Acha, listen to me, Mr. Raja. It is because of the ruckus in the Rajya Sabha during the monsoon session that only 1 out of 11 bills were passed by Parliament then. The point that emerges is this, and Madhu. No, Mr. Bhadoria. No, let me go to Mr. Bhadoria.
Ask the government. It is for. You see, in a democracy as we have today, government has a responsibility. Government must be more accommodating.
Passing the bill says a government responsibility.
So you're saying, I understand your argument. I'll get Mr. Bhadoria, then it's an open debate. I'll get Mr. Raja, 1 minute, take a break, please.
Why it took 18 months Prime Minister to reach out to the opposition to pass the bill?
It's about political revenge. Well, Acha, Mr. Raja, 1 minute, give me a break, please. 1 second.
Debate and deliberate, reach out to the opposition.
No, 1 second.
You can't just blame the opposition but as an obstructionist.
The parliamentary committee, the standing committee passes. It goes to the Lok Sabha passes, the Rajya Sabha, because the arithmetic is there, you put it to the select committee, so it goes into a cold storage.
There are many bills,
somebody's ego has not been satisfied.
It
cannot be that way.
Mr. Madhu Goud, actually 1 minute.
Then why did you send
emerges
the land acquisition bill to the joint committee?
Mr. Raja, talk about the present. Mr. Raja, 1 minute. Can I get Mr. Bhadoria in, please? Let's get the others also into the debate. Don't mind, please. The point is this, and you're getting unnecessarily provoked. I'm not going to stop saying it. The fact is there is horrible productivity of the upper house in recent months. There is a tendency, Mr. Bhadoria, I don't know why you support it. The tendency is block all critical legislation for long points of time. I mean, is the entire idea that somehow the bills should not pass, let the economy tank, let the blame on that be put on the government, we'll then turn around and say it's the government which was not able to pass the legislation, it's not our job to help them anyway. While it may work for you politically, Mr. Bhadoria, politically it may be a great strategy. What is the impact on the country? Politically, Mr. Bhadoria, great strategy, congratulations. You will prove. You know there's a deadline on the government to pass GST, but the deadline is not just on the Modi government, the deadline is on the country. And that deadline applies to the way foreign
objections
investors
what
look
we
at this
raised on
country.
the GST
Mr.
bill
Bhadoria,
per
Mr.
se.
Bhadoria, after that I come to you. Mr. Bhadoria, how far will you stretch the politics, Mr. Bhadoria?
Question straightforward. You see, let me put this debate into perspective. The bicameral legislature which we have in this country was created by the founding fathers of the Constitution. Now, if there is a government which has lack of management, inability to manage the opposition, you see, it is not only one party. And I can tell you several examples in the Lok Sabha when 3 members, 4 members, 5 members have been installing parliaments, and that has been done during both the Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government and past and also very recently. So therefore this is nothing new which is only happening in Rajya Sabha. It has happened both in Lok Sabha. If there are reforms required, then it requires a larger deliberation. And let me tell you,
You think there hasn't been enough deliberation on GST? No, Mr. Bhadoria, no, Mr. Bhadoria, 1 minute. Mr. Bhadoria,
Mr. Arun Jaitley,
I reject your argument.
It is the legitimate right. It is not
I
only
reject
the
your
Congress
argument.
party. It is the other opposition parties which they are not addressing the issue.
Mr. Bhadoria,
Land reform,
Mr. Bhadoria,
land
don't
issue.
tell me about
On
debate
that,
and discussion. I
this
know what
government
debate
failed
and discussion
completely.
happens and the quality of debate and discussion that happens in Parliament. We are all aware of it. So any of you want to come on the program and say we want debate and discussion, I think that's a facile argument. You can at least say that it's politics. At least say that it is politics.
Arnab, let me-
Essentially, this is about politics. Jai Panda countering you, Mr. Bhadoria. Jai Panda, please. Mr. Bhadoria, listen to Jai Panda.
So he referred to the founding fathers. I just make 2 quick comments. As Radhakrishnan, founding father in the Constituent Assembly, said, the Rajya Sabha will have to justify its existence by the quality of the contribution that it makes. H.V. Kamath said, let us not take the view that the Constituent Assembly is superior to future parliaments which will be elected by future generations. So we must discuss this and find a way to break this log jam. He does say, Mr. Bhadoria does say something which I support. He talks about the government reaching out. Now, recently the Prime Minister reached out to Mrs. Gandhi and
After
to his
18 months.
predecessor, Dr. Manmohan Singh. And I think more of that should happen. But whether he reached out after 18 months or 12 months or 6 months, when they talk about that,
the
it becomes
delay
clear
because of the
that
government
ego is coming
because
into
of the
the
Prime
play.
Minister's attitude.
it becomes
not
no,
because
no,
of the
no,
opposition.
No,
Not because of the
Politics,
opposition.
ego,
you
we got
want
to decide.
No, one second.
Nation, politics, ego, we got to decide the order in this country for the country to move. And that's what my good friend from Congress
What's the order now in your
Well, I think for all of us as politicians, we need to have the nation first. Then certainly,
Are you
if
saying
there
the
is
Congress does not
That's
have
exactly
the
we've been saying.
No,
the
I want
nation-
to
That's
say.
exactly we've been saying nation
it's
first.
for them to reflect.
Not the politics.
Nation comes
Let
first.
me answer
we
to
need
Arnab
to
that
keep
not
ourselves
losing
individuals
elections is a
aside.
part of the game.
Politics can be there. Politics can be there, like Jay was saying it.
That's
Second
exactly we've been
chamber,
telling
which
to the
is the
Prime
upper
Minister, your
house,
government
the
must
Constituent
win.
Assembly was there.
Winning and
It
losing
was
Bihar election or
created.
Delhi election is
Delays
not
can be
important.
there because there were seasoned people, more intellectuals to be there to debate and then pass the law.
You
But it
should
cannot be
practice
a
what you
process
preach when
that
you're in
it
the
gets on
opposition.
delay,
You
Okay,
do
one
the
second.
opposite.
and the country loses on
second.
it.
Mr. Bhadoria is saying
You
something.
do
Yes,
just
Mr.
the
Bhadoria, go
opposite
on.
when you are in the opposition.
So that two wrongs don't make one right in that case. That's your argument.
Just the opposite when you are in the opposition. Then you install the parliament continuously, both in the Lok Sabha and in the Rajya Sabha. Today, when you are in the ruling party, you want that the parliament should function as per your decisions. It
Bhadoria
cannot
ji, I
happen
can
that way.
counter
The
why
norms
we
are
did,
established,
but
there
let's
are
presume what
precedents,
you are
the
saying is
parliament
right.
functions according to
Then
the
two
precedents,
wrongs don't
and
make a right.
everybody is
So let's
responsible for
move
it.
from there.
No, but you're in a helpless situation today. That's why you're saying that.
Well, it's not a question of helpless
you are in a
situation.
helpless
Do you
situation
agree?
today.
Well, certainly
you are in a helpless
situation.
no, you are no, no, you are no, no, you are you are.
In parliamentary democracy, there can be delays since
No,
1991 reforms
Mr. Sidharth,
have never been held back in
Sidharth Nath Singh,
perpetuity.
Mr.
But
Sidharth
yes,
Nath Singh, one second. Mr.
we
Sidharth
need
Nath,
to then, there are certain gives and takes which is happening now.
Mr. Sidharth Nath Singh, you are on the firing line right now. And Ravi Shankar Prasad in April 2013 said it is the duty of the government to run parliament smoothly. It is none of our business. Having taken that kind of position, you can't today come around and say it's the responsibility of opposition to help
we are not saying that.
you remember exactly what happened during the winter session. Winter session of 2010. Winter session of 2010 was a complete washout because you wanted the JPC into the 2G scam.
But then JPC was an important tool because the CBI and others which were investigating an issue which was the largely a
2012
corruption.
monsoon session was washed out because of your demands for resignation for the Prime Minister.
Genuine reasons.
The reason was the Colgate.
Yes, the reason was the coal scam, but
And
your
who-
demands
what
for the
about-
resignation
There,
of
what
the
are
Prime
they?
Minister.
What are they raising?
about
Somebody
Lalit
has
Modi
said what
Gate?
is not said, and they
What
refer
about
to
Modi
the
Gate?
Gate as
They are
well.
asking you
Modi
tonight.
Gate?
They are
What are
asking.
they saying?
They are
Modi
asking
Gate?
you
That's
tonight.
the reference
What?
to there.
They are asking.
There is a-
Modi
there-
Gate?
Sir,
there
they
is-
are asking.
No, I'm so sorry.
the agenda?
That
What about
2010
Modi
and
Gate?
2012,
What is
there
Lalit
is
Modi
a
Gate?
constitutional body comes up with a report, and that is what we ask for a debate.
You
And
actually-
through a parliamentary system to
Then
investigate.
say so. Say so tonight.
you see,
Say so to the
Mr.
Congress
Sidharth
party.
Nath Singh, you will
Say
not
so to
set
the
the
Congress
agenda.
party. 1 second, Mr. Bhadoria. 1 second. 1 second. And say so to
And
the
they supported it.
Sir, say so. Look at Madhu Yaskhi
Yeah,
and
yeah,
say
yeah,
so.
okay.
That engagement is critical in developing a consensus. Something that Manmohan Singh as Prime Minister wanted repeatedly on with the BJP. Despite that, we saw logjams, walkouts and washouts during your tenure as opposition. So say to the Congress party that please don't repeat what we did.
Well,
No. Say it in as many words.
I will
Say it in
not
as
say-
many words tonight.
I will not say in as many words.
Why
as
would you not?
want, because the issues were different.
Say
The
your own
issues
words
they
of
are
sorry to the
picking
nation.
up are not relevant.
Well, then-
The issues they are picking up, somebody said something.
sorry to the
and
nation what you done.
Say sorry to the nation.
Suit you.
You must be
Not
saying
to the- not
sorry.
to us.
Mr.
Not to us, at
Mr.
least.
Madhu
You will not
Yaskhi,
say
you should be saying
Mr.
sorry
Panda is a
because
neutral
you
member.
have held
Mr.
a
Panda is a neutral
2%
member. He
GDP
agrees
that
that
India
you should
could have
reach out.
achieved.
He
You are not
agrees that
allowing it to happen because the
he
GST you
endorsing
don't
what
want.
you have done. He
We
should have
have
done it
reached
long ago.
more than halfway to you. Respond now for the country.
Not at
That
all.
is what the
You never.
nation is calling you all for.
This is exactly
Take
trying
that call
to tell to the
and
Prime
say,
Minister.
yes, you have walked the path. Prime Minister has met. Now we have adjusted on your 3 demands, more or less. 2 demands have been met.
Why?
Please go ahead.
Is it in the interest of the country? Is it
No,
in the interest of the Congress
reason,
party?
The reason is
the
because
objections we raised.
GST is in
but
interest,
all along,
but
all
the
along,
GST
including
with
even
a
including you made times
weak,
now to
weak
look at
clauses
Congress
is
is
certainly not in
obstructing.
interest.
We have
But
a
overall,
valid, we have a
GST is
valid
interest
objection
for
GST
the
bill which
country.
is good for the country.
What do you-
It is-
how can you
it is in the
say
interest of
What
the
do you,
country.
what do you
raised?
want? No, 1 second. Now, let me get D. Raja back to the debate, and I'm getting you here. Please understand. And Mr. D. Raja, don't take it personally. When I say tyranny of the majority, you have a tyranny of the majority in the Rajya Sabha. You have the majority in the Rajya Sabha. You talk about the tyranny of the majority in the
What
Lok
about
Sabha. You
tyranny
have the
of Lok
tyranny of the
Sabha?
majority
They
in the
have
Rajya
been the
Sabha.
majority.
That is
No, 1
Sitaram
second. Yes,
Yechuri
Mr. Raja, don't
Sitaram
you?
Yechuri is on record
No,
saying
Mr.
that.
No, Mr. Raja, aren't you exercising the tyranny of the majority?
Don't Lok Sabha against Rajya Sabha.
But you are.
Because
I'm not. You are.
Once called
No, you are.
The member who said it is a member of the Rajya Sabha.
1 second.
And somebody said it is a tyranny of other house. So let us not pit Rajya Sabha
recall
against
correctly.
Lok
No,
Sabha.
sir, I'm telling you.
Sitaram Yechuri
Sir,
against
1 minute, 1 minute. Are you
Both-
saying,
both
Mr. Are you
are
saying,
harmoniously-
are you saying, Mr. Raja,
both the
are you,
answers. And no, listen to me. There are some bills which are critical, which need to be scrutinized. Even Lok Sabha passes one bill, if Rajya
Wrong.
Sabha thinks it needs to be
Wrong.
scrutinized further.
You are wrong.
There are rules which allow it
You are
to
wrong,
be referred
sir.
to select committee.
Sir,
And
you are
don't
wrong,
take
sir. It has nothing to do with
objection
being
to,
selected. No, sir.
referring
Sir, don't
bill
confound
to-
me.
No,
Sir, don't- no,
rules
sir,
are
you are
there,
trying to
rules are
confuse
there,
the
go
issue.
by rules. No,
So I'm going
rules
by
are
rules.
there,
You are trying to
otherwise
confuse the
select
issue.
committee can be
So it's got nothing to do with select committee.
You are confusing, you are misleading. You go by
Sir,
rules.
you are confusing
Select
and you are
committee cannot
misleading,
be
and I can tell you
constituted
why you are
without rules.
misleading.
You show me
Sir,
how,
let me prove
how
you wrong
select
then.
committee can be constituted.
Sir,
Our
let me,
chairman will
sir,
agree
don't,
to
sir,
constitute a
sir,
select
this is the
committee.
problem.
If
This is the
rules-
problem,
rules
Mr.
are
Raja.
not there, if
Mr.
rules
Raja,
do not permit,
Mr. Raja, Mr. Raja.
So, Ms. Arnab,
Mr. Raja, 1 minute. Mr. I'll have to prove you wrong, Mr. Raja.
Don't pit Rajya Sabha against Lok Sabha. Lok
Mr.
Sabha
Raja, I
against
am not,
Rajya
I am
Sabha.
not, Mr.
Both
Raja,
are
Mr. Raja,
the
Mr. Raja,
houses of our
Mr. Raja,
parliament.
Mr.
And
Raja.
our parliament is supreme in our democracy. Let us have
Mr.
some
Raja.
respect for Rajya Sabha. and
Mr.
Lok
Raja,
Sabha.
I want to tell you, I have no intention of pitting Lok Sabha against Rajya Sabha. However, the fact of the
That's
matter
what
is
is
this,
being
Mr.
done now.
Raja. Mr. Raja, you're not letting me complete. Mr. Raja, the fact of the matter is
Yes, sir.
that members of the Rajya Sabha are not directly elected by the people. That's a fact. You can't change that.
You're watching the Newshour special with Arnab Goswami.
They are
Members of the Rajya Sabha are not directly elected by the people. You want to undermine the will of the people. You want to undermine the will of the people, Mr. Raja. And that's a fact. No, 1 second. Why do you want to undermine the will of the people?
Our democracy.
No, one of you at a time. All three of you take me on. I can't speak.
No, but
No, Mr. Raja, let me respond. No, all three of you can't speak over me. No, one of them, Mr. Raja. Okay, Mr. Raja.
Can I add one point?
Council of States. First of all, Rajya Sabha is the Council of States. You should understand.
Correct.
It is not
Sir,
that
you tell me.
we are not directly elected.
Sir,
We are
sir, you-
elected by the elected.
1 second. Mr. Raja, Jay Panda countering you.
We are
My
not-
point is this.
we
No,
are
no,
elected
Mr.
by the
Mr.
elected
Raja, don't let the debate go out of hand.
every
No,
state.
Mr. Raja,
That is
you
why
are taking
it
it
is Council
badly.
of States.
Mr. Raja, you are taking it badly.
It opposed to the
Mr. Raja,
principle of federalism in
No,
our
I think no, Mr. Raja, Jay Panda will counter you. I have said
Mr.
this.
Arnab Goswami, please let me. I
No,
have to
what
make
is-
a point, Arnab Goswami.
Mr. Bhadoria, the Rajya Sabha is not directly elected by the people. That's a fact. You can't undermine the will of the people.
Elected by the
So
elected
You can't.
representatives.
Yeah, but elected by state assemblies.
It is indirectly.
There's a world of difference
Elected
between being
by the
elected by
lower
state
house
assemblies and elected by the people.
Indirectly.
You don't like my speaking freely tonight, so what are you going to do? File a privilege against
He
me?
cannot function.
endanger the free
I'm going to repeat it again and again and again if required. The fact of the matter is members of the Rajya Sabha elected by state assemblies, members of the Lok Sabha elected by the people. That's a fact. So if you are not allowing the Lok Sabha to function, you are disregarding the will of the people.
That's not correct.
You are disregarding
That's
the
not
will of the
correct.
people.
That's not the responsibility.
Well, you may not like it.
Take the example of BSP.
Now all three of you will jump on me for saying that he has
20% vote in Lok Sabha, but they are not
all of you will jump on me because I
Can't you make them a policy? Can't make them in a part of the government policy making, being in members of the Rajya Sabha?
Rajya Sabha has a role.
No, what's it? This is like the Rajya Sabha now. We are talking like it's in the Rajya Sabha now. What's it? This is not the Rajya Sabha. One time. Mr. Bhadoria.
Mr. Bhadoria. Perspective.
Mr. Bhadoria, I am only telling you,
You see, the
that even in Italy,
Let's understand, in the Rajya Sabha, the regional parties gets a representation, and in the current scenario, in the political affairs, the regional parties get more representation in the Rajya Sabha, and regional party, rightly, I don't deny, they represent a state, they represent the regional aspiration. The larger canvas does get represented in the Lok Sabha.
No, I'm getting Jay Panda in, but before I get Jay Panda in, a point which needs to be made, which he also refers to. No, Mr. Raja, listen here. This debate is going to
solving the problems.
Mr. Bhadoria, we have adopted a British model of a bicameral legislature. Even the United Kingdom saw the wisdom of controlling the powers of the upper house in 1911 and then in 1949 even introducing restrictions on how long they can delay a bill.
Those are
So we can't.
democracies.
Oh, we are not a mature democracy.
We are still a
You are
evolving
saying we are not a mature
democracy. It's an evolving
One second.
democracy. That's an evolving democracy.
No, sir,
no more evolving.
You can't undermine the role of Rajya Sabha.
Sir, you have said
The
we are not a
members of-
mature democracy.
We are an evolving democracy.
We are not a mature
as
democracy.
matured as
No, no.
UK or US.
In that case,
what you are
democracy
saying
will
that
be always evolving.
See, our constitution
Democracy
is
will be always
drafted,
evolving,
taken
sir.
some from
So
UK,
don't say it is
US,
not.
Japan.
But we are a mature democracy. Time has come. We must collectively address this in a democratic fashion.
When did they change?
Okay, Jay Panda to Mr. Raja. Jay Panda and Mr. Raja. Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with Mr. Raja. The Rajya Sabha is a council of states, but you can be a council of states and be directly elected. Exactly how the US Senate changed its rules in 1913. If they want to retain the veto, I think they should be directly elected. Number two, in that article I wrote in the Times of India, I wrote something for my friend Madhu Goud Yaskhi's party. The last line is, those who are in opposition must also consider supporting these changes in the constitution like all other countries are doing. Because someday you should hope to be in government. And if you are, you will start repenting just like they are repenting.
Sidharth may not like it, but we will.
No, let him complete. Let him complete. He's making a point.
Make that change. And we can't continue with 19th century rules already in the 21st century. We must find a legislative way to break the logjam. That doesn't take anything away from the fact that both government should reach out and opposition should be responsive.
No, just because the bill, you have a majority in the lower house and you don't have majority or if opposition raising a valid points or objection on certain bill,
Sir,
you can't
sir,
raise
Italy,
No, Jay Panda count.
Even as we talk, Australia and Canada are discussing whether they want to bring the same changes that UK and Italy have already done, that if the upper house is not directly elected, it should have the ability to slow down but not stop bills.
I don't think this time is evolved. required at this point to amend or abolish?
Why not?
Rajya
So
Sabha?
the time will evolve only
Why
when
not
you are
even
back
do
in
that?
government.
The Constitution
doesn't
will
mean
can't change the basic
that my way
structure
or
of the
a highway.
Constitution.
Consensus
It
means
is not.
coming
That is
together.
what you
So
look
there
at
are
it.
3 points you raised,
Sidharth,
despite not
quickly one
raising when the
point.
Chidambaram and Pranab Mukherjee were the finance minister. You have raised it. Certainly the intention is known. We have moved forward. We have approached you in the interest of the nation. If all points are not getting
If we're not
agreed,
right, why
at
did you
least
approach us? But all along you've been accusing opposition
on
and
the
obstructive.
majority points
We're
which you
against the
have
nation,
raised
against the
and move
development.
forward. That's all we are requesting you.
You're trying to lecture us about the
we are not
development.
lecturing.
We were at forefront of the development or the reforms which we brought in.
No, certainly in 1991 reforms started.
What we quickly try to say, Sidharth, branding Rajya Sabha, the opposition role is raising in a certain basic issues or differences on a bill. Branding opposition as an obstructor against the development is wrong.
But it is a
What
reality.
we're trying to say.
This
No,
is
but it
exactly
is.
where the
Madhu
He
Gaud
changed
Yaskhi.
that perception.
No, Madhu
He changed that
okay,
perception.
on facts. On facts, I want to take you on. No, my question to you is, Madhu Gaud Yaskhi, Madhu Gaud Yaskhi, no, on facts, let me take you on. No, Mr. Madhu Gaud Yaskhi, let me take you on.
But don't you say that BSP's role should not be there in the Rajya Sabha?
Mr. Madhu Gaud Yaskhi, this is not the Rajya Sabha. Listen to me, please. The fact is, now I know that all three of you will try to shout me down, but I'll say it anyway. Madhu Gaud Yaskhi, D. Raja, and Mr. Bhadoria, listen. People of this country are watching. And don't think, Mr. Raja, that people of this country will not judge what is happening in the Rajya Sabha. What is happening in the Rajya Sabha is nothing short of the tyranny of the upper house because of the inordinate delay in the passage of bills. I'm not talking about GST. GST was passed by the Lok Sabha, it's stuck in the Rajya Sabha. The mental health care bill, you are saying, Mr. Raja, we have to discuss. There is nothing to discuss further in the mental health care bill which was introduced in the Rajya Sabha in August 2013. It has still not been passed. Mr. Raja, you want to tell us we have to discuss and deliberate? One second, let me complete. Mr. Raja, you are forcing millions of Indian children into child labor. Because the child labor bill which prohibits the employment of children below 14 years was introduced. Yes, sir, you are. Was introduced in the Rajya Sabha in December 2012. It has still not been passed.
House is not
Allow me. House is not functioning.
Why?
Which is not relevant.
Because of the opposition.
Why?
The clarification
last
has happened.
session,
The Home Minister made a clarification.
because of the role
you still want to raise it.
Because
then
of
I
the
will raise
corrupted role of foreign minister, your chief ministers, that's what
Arnab, can you listen to
House
me?
was not functioning.
The answers have been
This
given.
bill was not bought.
The answers have been, you have a debate, you have a discussion on it,
Where?
but you have to say no, the person must resign and then we will move forward.
No, why?
Okay, let me give another example.
Because of VK Singh statement. You agree VK Singh statement?
No, that's been condemned. Clarification given.
What
Do
action?
you agree?
Just
Oh, no,
because
in that
condemned,
case,
just
Madhu,
condemned is not
then
enough.
I'm going to come on to it.
That's
The
not- that's not
1984, the Sikhs got massacred. Rajiv Gandhi made a comment. Was it a fair comment?
I
Then
think
the
VK
parliament
Singh
should
should
not have
go.
In 2002, Godha, your prime minister, not even made one statement when 39 people have been killed. Bullshit. When he was chief
Then the
minister,
parliament should not
he's not even made regretted
No, the
apologies to the
clarification
nation.
comes from
How can you
statement made
justify
outside the
that?
parliament,
You
the
talk
state-
about
the
1994,
clarification
talk about
has been made.
2002.
He has no
2002,
He's
Mr. Modi ever
VK Singh has
apologized to the
no regret.
nation?
He says-
Being a chief
Mobilize
minister.
the whole house
VK
by
Singh has no
raising
regrets.
these
He
issues.
says that
Let's move
Supari has been
forward.
given-
I
That's
think we all have
exactly
become
been
mature.
saying.
The country
To
is
gun him
watching.
down.
I would like to
Country
correct
reforms.
Mr. Arnab that
no
mental health care
regrets.
bill was stopped.
He
That's
says
not
that the
correct.
Supari has
It is
been
the
given
duty
to
of the
journalists
government
to
to
gun
bring
him
those
down.
bills to be
This is
passed.
what
We have an
this
objection
is
on the
the
GST bill, which
Mr.
we've
Bhadoria,
been explained to the
the fact
government.
is, sir, let me tell you. The fact is, I'm not generalizing.
Arnab,
Mr.
you
Raja,
allow me
Mr.
to-
Raja,
See,
just understand.
VK
Mr. Raja,
VK
Mr.
Singh
Raja.
said that the Supari
No,
has been given
then
to
you
the
pose
journalists
some
to gun him
questions.
down.
You
So
allow me
is
to
this
respond.
regret?
That's what I'm
Mr.
asking.
Bhadoria, one
You
second.
said-
Mr. Raja,
You
child
have
labor
asked
bill
me
not
some
passed.
questions.
I will, but let me give
me
you some
respond.
more examples on why the Rajya Sabha has become an impediment in the progress of this country.
It's not. Rajya Sabha
The
has a
Prevention
very-
of Corruption
I know
Amendment
what
Bill, which
people
makes
speak.
bribe giving an
In
offence,
the
was
name of
introduced in the
people, we
Rajya
also
Sabha in
know
August 2013.
the people.
It has
We
still
also
not been
represent
passed.
people.
No, Mr. Raja, the Whistleblowers Protection Amendment Bill passed in the Lok Sabha this year hasn't been passed by the Rajya Sabha. The Juvenile Justice Bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha in August 2014. It is now pending in the Rajya Sabha. So what? No, a house where people, the Rajya Sabha
All
was
those bills
representatives.
were listed in the day's business.
Sir, but there is no work happening in the Rajya
No,
Sabha.
the government has to list those bills to be passed.
But there is only a
bills may be pending.
The
One day you
government has to
tyranny of
sit.
Lok
You have to
Sabha.
allow the Rajya Sabha to sit.
Okay.
You don't allow the Rajya Sabha to sit.
Tyranny of Lok
what is
Sabha.
the issue
then
with
Tell us
tyranny of
why.
parliament, then
Can I
what
you?
is
Yeah, okay, let's hear Mr.
What is
Raja, please.
democracy? What is our understanding of Indian democracy, Indian
You tell me,
parliament,
Mr. Raja.
Indian
Okay, I'll ask
parliamentary
you a
democracy.
question.
Then
Okay,
third
Mr. Raja,
third
since you are
thing,
making...
You talked about bills. Yes, child labor bill. I asked, in the presence of labor minister, I asked, what is the family enterprise? I asked him, what is the family enterprise? How do you tackle child labor in family enterprises? There is no answer. You tell me what is
because
the family enterprise?
because no, one second.
What do you
Mr. Raja,
mean by
don't,
the
Mr. Raja,
child labor
don't
in
misrepresent
family
facts.
enterprises?
Mr. Raja,
Can't
Mr. Raja,
we
don't
discuss these
misrepresent
questions?
facts.
Seriously?
Mr. Raja, the
How can
child
we deal
labor
with our
bill
children?
which prohibits the
Children.
employment of children
They
under
must-
14
they must
years
be
should
the
get your
center
full
of our
support.
Entire,
It should have been passed by now.
And
It-
we don't...
Mr. Raja, you have-
And you question, oh, child labor you are opposing,
Yes,
mental health
it has
care
not
you are
been
opposing.
passed.
This is not the
Mr.
way to
Raja,
discuss.
Mr.
There are
Raja, I'll
certain
tell you,
bills which are
Mr. Raja, please
critical,
listen
which
to me. Don't get
far-reaching
worked
impact
up.
on our future.
No, Mr. Raja, don't get worked up. You please understand. While bills need to be discussed.
I'm not. You are getting worked up. You are
No,
getting
Mr.
worked up.
Raja, I'm
That's why
asking you in a
telling.
very calm
I'm
manner.
not.
You're getting worked up. The fact of the matter is this, Mr. Raja, that
No,
while
no,
bills
no,
need to
no,
be discussed.
I'm not.
Again,
I
you're
am
not
trying to
allowing him to
explain.
finish one sentence. It must be really difficult to have any debate in the Rajya Sabha anyway. Mr. Raja,
you
bills need to be
think-
discussed,
Yeah,
debated,
I
and
was
amendments
thinking
need to be made. But they cannot be held in abeyance indefinitely. Because of political considerations.
No, no,
You tell me,
we are not
for political
doing-
considerations, you can't
I am
stop the
speaking-
And
legislative
that's
work.
where Jay Panda's article
I
comes
am
in.
Interminably.
speaking for
That is-
CPI.
that's
And I think that's where the Jay Panda's
That's where
article
Jay
comes
Panda's
in,
argument
and
comes
we
in.
need
You're
to
not
debate that.
Here.
No, okay, I'll get Jay into this discussion. Mr. Raja, I hope you listen to him at least, please, because you know you're not listening to me. He's from the Lok Sabha, but you'll have to listen to him if you don't mind, please. Mr. Jay Panda to D. Raja, please. Yeah.
Former member of
I
Rajya
have,
Sabha.
I have a lot of respect for Mr. Raja, who's a two-time member of the Rajya Sabha. I also spent 2 terms in the Rajya Sabha, and now I'm in the 2nd term in the Lok Sabha. The irony is this: our parliamentary rules are mostly drawn from 19th century England. England itself has moved on. Other countries like Italy have moved on. The US has moved on. Australia and Canada are debating these changes. We can't remain an outlier to say that we are not a mature democracy, we should not have these changes. You know, opposition should also consider that if the opposition aims to be back in government, you will be repenting it exactly like these people are repenting it. So please have a big heart and change these things, because unless we, and by the way, it is not only that we have to reform the Rajya Sabha. I have suggested many other changes over the years. For example, some days must be kept aside in both houses for opposition agenda to be discussed. Certain other changes I have suggested to bring the balance better between opposition and government. But we can't have logjam. We must have a systemic way to break the logjam.
Yeah,
But the timing. See, since in August, Mr. Arun Jaitley spoken about the tyranny of the unelected. Then Mr. Jay's article
he
comes
was
in.
referring to the
What we're trying to
the
say
court.
here is
It's not to
it
the Rajya Sabha or
You
Lok
can't
Sabha, it was
undermine the role of the
reference
Rajya
to the court.
Sabha. Even Constituent Assembly, when the father of the Constitution, Mr. Ambedkar, got elected from one of the state when he was not elected from Maharashtra.
I take your point, but since you're quoting since you're quoting from Ambedkar, I'll only quote from Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. He was the first chairman of the Rajya Sabha. As speaking as the first chairman, he had said, what happens to the Rajya Sabha depends on our work, whether we justify this 2-chamber system. All I'm saying, sir, is don't create a situation where people turn around and say that the powers of the upper house should be restricted if the house itself not be abolished. I'm glad we've had a discussion. I thank you all very much for joining me on this debate on the Newshour tonight. Thank you.